Hi, and welcome to the To Be Read podcast, where we give honest reviews on viral books that you might see on social media and popular book review websites. This is Chris.
And Harrison, and on today's episode, we will be discussing The House Across the Lake by Riley Sager. So cozy on in and let's see if you should add this book to your TBR shelf. Well, hello, friends, and welcome back to the To Be Read podcast. It has been a couple months, and I love how we said in our last one we were going to do one
We're
month.
going to be better, but we haven't been. Life happens.
You know, the summer was long and busy, and it's fine. But we finished our book, and I'm excited to discuss this one. I don't know about Chris, but I'm excited to talk about our thoughts and opinions on this book.
Yeah, I
So,
feel like there's a lot to unload about this one, so
yeah. Before we start that, let's read the synopsis for the book. From Goodreads, here we go. Casey Fletcher, a recently widowed actress trying to escape a streak of bad press, has retreated to the peace and quiet of her family's lake house in Vermont. Armed with a pair of binoculars and several bottles of liquor, she passes the time watching Tom and Catherine Royce, the glamorous couple who live in the house across the lake. They make for good viewing. A tech innovator, Tom is rich, and a formal model, Catherine is gorgeous. One day on the lake, Casey saves Catherine from drowning, and the two strike up a budding friendship. But the more they get to know each other, and the longer Casey watches, it becomes clear that Catherine and Tom's marriage is not as perfect and placid as it appears. When Catherine suddenly vanishes, Casey becomes consumed with finding out what happened to her. In the process, she uncovers eerie, darker truths that turn a tale of vulnerism and suspicion into a story of guilt, obsession, and how looks can be very deceiving. With his trademark blend of sharp characters, psychological suspense, and gasp worthy surprises, Riley Sager's The House Across the Lake unveils more than one twist that will shock readers until the very last page. So, before we give our rates of what we thought out of 5 stars, Goodreads, with over 300,000 ratings and 38,000 reviews, has a 3.6 star, which, to be honest, I was surprised. I was shocked it was this low because of how popular this book is. I gave it a 3.
I gave it a 2.75. I feel like there are a lot of plot holes. A lot. And we'll kind of delve into that a little bit, but I personally, which you and I talked off podcast about this during last week, I don't like the unknowing narrator. I feel like it's it's too easy to be like, "Oh, she remembered it wrong," instead of just going back and writing a good book.
Because she was wasted more than half the book. Yeah, I gave it a 3 because first of all, Tom was just so predictable of being.
Yeah, he was like straight up. I was just like, this guy's bad news. Like, I knew from the get-go.
And then I personally just and this is just a personal preference, I hate the whole her husband's spirit was in the lake. I just, I felt like that was just like out of left field.
So I'll be honest, because I write all of these books in my book journal, I preemptively, before I really like dove into the thick of the book, um, like the two chapters in when I was just like, Kara, this book. Um, I wrote it in my journal, and in there's a part where it asks what like genre the book is. So I looked it up because I obviously didn't really know, and it said paranormal. And so the whole book, I'm sitting here like, where is this at? What is happening? Like, how can this be paranormal? So that part didn't surprise me, but the way it was done felt very poor, like a last thought.
Yeah. I just like how it was he was in Catherine's body, which like I guess that's what happens with paranormal activity is like when spirits overtake you, they come in your body, but it was just like the way it was written where it was like I didn't expect it to be in Catherine. If anything, I thought it would have like been in Tom.
Yeah, the other thing though is like,
Or in Boone. I feel like it would have been more of a shock if Boone was the bad guy.
I agree. And like, there for a second, I was just like, please don't make him the bad guy. Please don't. Like, I like Boone.
Yeah, I did too. I liked him, but I thought it would have made it a better book if he turned out to actually be a bad.
No, I agree. I think there would have been a little bit more of like a wow factor there. Uh, but like, since we're on the whole topic, like, because his soul was like in the lake, right? Or whatever. Um, has nobody else just like swam in that lake?
Well, it overtook Catherine because she died. Kind of stumped me. I just feel like it was so predictable that like Tom was the bad person, that the fact that he didn't envelop someone else, like I felt like Catherine and Tom were too predictable for that to be something. I feel like if you wanted a whatever it's saying is it's like it will have more than one twist that will shock you. Like I feel like it would have shocked me more if it would have been Boone or was his name Eli. It would have been one
Yeah.
of those people that he would have overtaken.
Although Eli told a story about all of this kind of stuff, so like, has it happened with Eli around already? Like, does he already know about it? Like, he already knew that this was going on? Because that would have that would have definitely made for quite a plot if it was Eli.
Yeah, yeah, because that would have made more sense because like when the night that Catherine disappeared, um, that's in quotation marks for our listeners. Um, and she was on the phone, like, Casey had called Catherine, and she was like, "I'm fine, C," which is what Lynn's nickname was for Casey was CEE. And when Casey was talking to Catherine in the book, it's written SEE, like she's saying, "See, I'm fine," not calling her by her nickname. Um, I don't remember what was I trying to go off with this. Oh, I remember. That would have made more sense if he would have been in Eli because he was like would have been speaking to Casey through Eli of like telling the story like are you not getting my hint now that I'm actually in Eli, not in Catherine?
Yeah.
That that would have made more sense with Eli telling the story.
Yeah,
I don't know. Also, I
I
felt it was
agree.
just rushed.
I just feel like I'm just going to be very frank. I feel like this book took forever to get anywhere. Okay? Like things were happening, but nothing that was just like, oh my gosh, I have to keep reading this. And then I feel like everything came to a close and all the wow factors were like one right after another in like the last couple of chapters. Like literally the last like 30 pages. It felt like everything was happening.
Yeah, it was very rushed.
Yeah, yes. So, I mean, clearly we've been talking a lot about the things that we don't like. So, was there anything that you read that you do like?
I like how she was trying to avenge for the girls that Lynn killed.
Yes.
Like, you could tell she was drowning in so much because she was holding this big secret that she did actually kill her husband. Spoiler alert. um, I don't think she felt guilty at all for what she did to him, but she felt guilty that she couldn't bring justice to the girls that were killed.
Yeah.
Um, so her making sure that she had a plan in place to have those girls found in the lake, I really did like that
Yeah, but like, how did they not find them before?
because it was so the lake was so dark that they couldn't remember. I remember at the beginning of the book when it was describing the lake, you couldn't even see your own legs in the lake because it was.
I know, I feel like, I don't know. I feel like that was an easy ride out, personally.
How there was.
Yeah. I would have rather there been like a dirty cop that covered it up or something.
Yeah.
I don't know. It feels like if there was three bodies in that lake that they would do so much more than just like skim over and be like, "Well, it's too dark." In my opinion.
Yeah, there's definitely some plot missing when it comes to Lynn and those girls because they weren't from the area. The three girls weren't. They weren't not. They all three weren't from the same area. They were all from different areas. So how did he get them from where he found met them to the lake? It's just that's a big plot.
Yeah. Yeah. I also feel like we never actually got to know what happened to Eli's wife. Did she just like right, but like there was so much of this like back and forth and like, oh, she's dead, oh, they're not dead, oh, this is what's happening, that part of me was just like, that's why part of me was wondering if Eli was
You mean Boone?
this. No.
Eli wasn't married. It was Boone's wife that died on the stairs.
Oh, Boone. Yes. Sorry. Eli is the old guy. Yes, Boone. And so I know that she killed herself, but like that's why part of me was like worried about Boone though. Because I was just like, okay, I really like this character, but like is he because of all of that. And so even and I was worried that he was going to be because of those things and that Wilma, is that her name? Yeah, was like the dirty cop. And so that's kind of what like in my head was coming around, especially with like that article where Wilma like was the detective, and that Boone wasn't found guilty about anything, but he was also a drunk. And so I was like, oh my God, does he have like an alter ego or something like that? Or the paranormal thing where like maybe he had a second personality, I guess. I don't know. But all of those things were running through my brain. I almost feel like I would have rather it been something like that because again, it still would have given you like that wow factor, like, oh my God, it is Boone. No.
Yeah, yeah. Also, just have to mention the fact that Boone and Casey get together at the very end. And I feel like that is not a healthy relationship at all. Because he has been sober for not even a full year or just out a year.
Yeah, I feel
And
like if she actually cared about him, she would get sober before allowing herself into that relationship.
yes, because if I've known, which we talked about in the Britney Spears book, how I don't know anything about rehab because I've never known anyone who's gone to rehab, but I've read in books that like a big thing is to not be in a relationship for your first year after getting out. And like I just didn't like how it was 3 months later and she was perfectly fine with not drinking anymore and they were in a relationship with,
Like it just
which
like
is,
skimmed over how hard it is to stop your addiction.
yes, yes, especially when she was denying that she had an issue because she was like, oh, I can count in Mississippi's and like not drink anything, and the farthest she got was like not even a minute without
I know, she
having to take
couldn't
a
even get
drink.
to 60 whole seconds. It was like 40 something.
Yeah, 45 seconds before she had to take a drink. And I'm like, that just was not okay with me. How that was in there. I did not like that. I want Boone and Casey together? Yeah, I thought they were cute, but like I wasn't happy. If it would have been like 2 years in the future and they had just started dating after like having a friendship.
Yeah. And like he was a friend to her while she went through AA, and like they've both been sober for like her a year, him continued or whatever. But it also would have been, I felt like, more character developing if Boone struggled, had shown signs of struggle to not drink while he's around her during all of this.
Yeah, which is something that you miss out when it's only one person's POV.
Yeah. I don't know. I just think that it would have been like to have like little signs that he was struggling would have also been kind of like more human.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Um, let's talk about our cover predictions of the
Okay,
book.
of
Um,
this book. Okay, do you
yes,
remember
yes,
them?
yes. I think we were pretty spot on, which it would be kind of hard to like mess up the cover of the book with this
Okay,
because we
uh,
said it
bullet
would
point
be
what we said. Yeah.
it was a couple. We said adulthood. Like we thought 30s, which I think they were in their 40s in this book. So I think that's like pretty much the only part we missed, and how
Okay.
like it was one person like looking into their house and like seeing something happening with the couple, which was true. So I
Yeah.
feel like we did a really good job with this book.
Okay. I'm proud of us.
Yeah, I was very, very proud of us with that.
And the husband was trying to kill
The wife.
the wife.
Yeah, yeah,
So,
yeah. I think that was pretty good. This brought back so many memories of just spending a week at the lake when we were kids. Because our grandparents used to have a lake house, nothing like this.
absolutely not.
When I talk about they had a lake house, it was like, what, probably what, not a double wide, but something like,
It was it was a large trailer with a front porch the length of the trailer that was screened in, and then a deck that was also screened in that was the length of the trailer in the back. and wherever you could fit a cot, there was one.
And we were not on the lake, like directly. We had to still drive to the lake.
Yeah.
So it
We were like
wasn't this, it wasn't nothing fancy like this.
back in the woods where like somebody could kill you and nobody would ever know.
I just remember like the stone path that was from like the where we would park to like get up to the house. I would always like turn the stones over and find the roly polies and the worms for
Yeah,
like when
and
we
the
would go.
daddy long legs.
Yes, and we would throw them in the fire.
Oh my God, we're telling people our like terrible, morbid things that we're doing.
Play badminton and um, Yahtzee, and I'm the youngest in the family, so I remember just everyone getting so mad when I would win Yahtzee because I was so young.
Yahtzee and Skippo.
And Hi Ho Cheerio.
Yeah, but we all did not play that.
I played that with Grandpa. That was like me and Grandpa's thing, which is just so cool. Like, because I'm teaching my little one how to play Hi Ho Cheerio, and he asks to play it like at least once a week now. And it's just,
Aw.
it's so precious to me because I'm just like, oh, I used to play this all the time when I was your age.
That's parenthood for you folks that don't have any kids. uh,
Brought back a lot of good memories of like being on the lake for 4th of
yeah.
July and stuff like that.
We never had any mysteries where somebody was killing someone else, but
No, but for all you people who like the show Ozark, we're from Missouri, so we would go to Lake of the Ozarks, which is, I mean, nothing like that show, but it's based at the Lake of the Ozarks, even though it's not filmed there. So I think that's cool.
okay, so was there anything in the like book that like actually surprised you? That you like had to sit there and be like, "Oh, what?"
I think just in the moment I would be shocked, but then I would be like reading, like thinking back of what I would have read, and I was like, oh, that makes sense. I think when I first started reading it, it was within the first chapter or the second chapter. It was in the second chapter. Like the last line was like, Wilma had just come because Tom was missing. And she's like, he's not here, is he? Because you've been snooping through, like looking through their house and you broke in. And she was like, no, he's not here. And then, like, she went up to her room and then, like, a person was on the bed. And I was like, oh, wow. She really tuned into her acting.
Yeah, for real. Oh yeah. And the thing that like so that surprised me like because it was like right off the get-go, right? But then the other thing that surprised me was to find out that she had not actually kidnapped Tom, but Catherine, who is possessed by Lynn. That I was just like, whoa. Like in that moment, I was like, say what?
You don't you don't find out it's actually Lynn and Catherine's body until like later on in the book. So when you're getting these small flashbacks from before to now, you're just like, gosh, how did she capture Tom? And then you get to the point where you find out who it actually is and how it happened. You're like, wow, I did not see that coming. So that was a little surprising.
Yeah. Yeah.
But then like when you're like putting everything together, when you get to that point, you're like, oh, that
Oh,
does make sense. How?
yeah.
Yep. Oh, I glossed over that. Yeah.
Yep. Yep.
I think it started off really good, like grabbing your attention.
I know. I felt like there was so much promise. I will say that my friend Sam said that this is her least favorite book of all of the Riley Sager books. And so she did give me recommendations for three other ones that she really loves that she said would probably redeem him as an author, because I was like, if I had to judge off of this book if I would read any more of his content, the answer would be no, just based off of this book alone. And so I can let you know what they are since they're all by him. It is Last Time I Lied, Home Before Dark, and Survive the Night were her top favorites by him. So maybe because it was paranormal, I don't know. I'd have to read his other stuff to see if it was along the same lines. So, I don't know. Do you want to talk about our next book?
Well, yeah, but first we gotta say if we think you should add this to the
Oh,
TBR.
let's do that. I think it's probably obvious by the way that we've been talking about it.
Yeah, this is not a book I would read again.
No, this is not a to be read uh, approved book, in our opinion.
Mm-mm. And I'm gonna say one more thing about her drinking thing. We've read two thrillers in this past year because we read The Woman in Cabin 10,
Mm-hmm.
which is another thriller mystery type book, and then this one. And both of them, this is what irritates me, is both the main characters were alcoholics. Like, can we have something different, please? Can we not have the reason that these people are quote unquote crazy or like thinking the worst of everything be alcoholics?
Yeah, I agree.
And there's good mysteries out there that are not like that.
Yeah. And that's what I'm saying, is that like the unknowing or the like unsober narrator for mystery slash thrillers are just not my favorite or my cup of tea at all, because I feel like it's cheating. I feel like it's the easy way out for the author.
Mm-hmm. I would say a good, if you want a good thriller, I don't know how you feel about this one, but we read it in book club. Was this, no, we didn't. It was a suggestion and I ended up reading it. The Silent Patient. And
I was literally about to say The Silent Patient.
I know
Such a
it's another,
great read.
it's another book talk book. So if you want a book talk book, The Silent Patient, 100% would recommend that. And I'm not going to give any spoilers for that because that one actually did surprise me.
Yeah, highly recommend. I was actually surprised by it too. Loved it.
Yeah. And I feel bad because I don't remember the author's name. I can look it up real quick while Chris introduces the next book we're reading.
So, the next book we're reading, if you are on TikTok or Book Talk or Goodreads at all, you have definitely seen, if not this book or a book from this series, you've definitely seen books from this author. But we are going to read The Assassin's Blade by Sarah J. Maas. So, Kara and I have read all of ACOTAR in that series, and then Kara has finished the Crescent City series. I have yet to read the third book because I'm planning on reading it after this Throne of Glass series. So I haven't read any of this series yet, and it took me a while to actually decide which book I wanted to read first. It's funny, Kara's the one who actually recommended this one, and it was literally probably 2 days after I decided I was going to read The Assassin's Blade first.
Yeah, and the reason she's saying which one she was going to start with is because there's so many different ways you can read this series. Because the series is it 8 books, 9 books with this one? I don't know, but
It's a lot.
The Assassin's Blade was actually written after the series was completed, and it's a prologue book,
Eight
but
books.
it's a prologue book to the Throne of Glass series, but some people don't read it first. Some people read it after, and they read it in the order the books came out. Or you can tandem read, I don't know, book 4 and 5, I think that's what it is. I don't even know. Or you can just read that the 2 books separately and then read them in order. Anyways, we're gonna read the prologue first, uh, because that's how it was intended after she.
Yes, and the tandem reads are, I believe, Emperor of Storms and Tower of Dawn.
I have no idea.
I believe so. I did save a PDF just in case I decided I was going to tandem read, but the more and more I think about it, the more and more I just don't want to. Courtney did it, so I was going to ask Courtney her opinion before actually doing it.
Anyways, let's do our predictions. Well, first of all, let's talk about stuff you may know about this series. I only know that this is her least romance smut book of her series of hers. Like, if you're gonna rate the smut, this is the last on the list.
Yeah, according to Sarah J. Maas's books, because she does have other romances out there, right?
I only know of these 3 series.
Oh, maybe I'm thinking of Rebecca Yarros. Okay, but yes, Sarah J. Maas, this I have heard that this is her least like smutty driven series. And so, but I'm actually kind of looking forward to that.
Same, same. I'm looking forward to it, and I know one big thing, but if you don't know it, then I don't want to spoil it.
I don't know like anything. I every time that anybody on Book Talk has started talking about it, I skipped through it. So I don't know anything. So like looking at the cover, there's a deer on the front. I literally have zero understanding of what the significance of that deer may be other than possibly a symbol of like deer aren't they're prey, not predators. And so that's like the only thing that I can really think of when it comes to this, knowing that it's going to be a fantasy type series.
My prediction is I'm assuming just based off of her other 2 series that they're fae. Like one of the main characters is some type of fae.
I agree with that.
Because ACOTAR, they're faes in that. And then in Crescent City, Bryce is half fae.
Yeah,
So I'm assuming there has to be some type of fae in this. Because
I agree.
that'd just be weird. It'd be very unlike Sarah to not have a fae in there. But um, I'm assuming they're in a forest because it's trees.
Yeah, yeah. I don't know. The cover does not give much away.
No. And the Assassin's Blade, I'm assuming that's some type of weapon that's like a significant weapon in the series. Maybe there's a big killer. I have no idea. Our predictions for this series is like nothing.
I know nothing about these books and yeah, I'm also impressed by us by not getting any spoilers. I guess you said you knew one.
I know of one spoiler because when people were predicting things that were going to happen in the third Crescent City book, they were like, oh, but she's done this thing before in her first series. And I was like, oh, well, hopefully that doesn't happen in this series. So but I'm not going to say what it is because I want to read the rest of the series, and I'm kind of disappointed that I know about that.
Yeah.
Anyways, so we don't recommend The House Across the Lake.
Yeah.
Read The Silent Patient instead if you want a thriller. Sorry, guys.
Yeah.
But we're excited for The Assassin's Blade.
Yeah.
And hopefully we'll get a next episode done quicker than.
Yeah. And if you've read The House Across the Lake and you liked it or had other points that maybe we didn't cover, comment on whatever you're listening to this on. We post to YouTube right now. So comment on the video or on our socials.
Yes. And I'm sorry if you hear my cat. He's not happy that I'm in here. Alright, guys. We'll see you next time. Have a wonderful day and happy fall.
Yeah. Yay.
Thank you for joining us on today's episode of the To Be Read podcast, where we discussed our thoughts and opinions on The House Across the Lake by Riley Sager. Join us next time as we dive into the universe of Sarah J. Maas, where we start off talking about The Assassin's Blade.